She rejected me 30 times in 1 month. 30 quiet no's. 30 reminders that I was sleeping next to someone who didn't want me. But the 31st time, I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't even touch her. I just stopped being her husband. If you've ever felt invisible in your own marriage, if you've ever wondered how long is too long to ignore red flags, hit like, subscribe, and stay with me. Because this husband-wife story transformation isn't about anger. It's about the moment love turns into clarity. Sarah and I have been married for 11 years. 2 kids, a mortgage, a calendar filled with school recitals and dentist appointments. The kind of life that looks stable from the outside. We weren't dramatic people. We didn't scream in public. We didn't throw plates. Our collapse was quieter than that. It started with exhaustion. Or at least, that's what I told myself. She worked long hours. I worked long hours. The kids were always hungry, loud, growing. Marriage, everyone says, goes through phases. So when she started turning away at night, I didn't panic. The first time, she said she had a headache. The second time, she said she had an early meeting. The third time, she rolled over before I even spoke. I told myself not to be selfish. I told myself intimacy isn't everything. I told myself love shows up in other ways. But love wasn't showing up anywhere. Not in her touch. Not in her eyes. Not in the way she used to linger when we hugged in the kitchen. Instead, she moved around me like I was part of the architecture. A chair, a lamp, a hallway she had to pass through to get somewhere more interesting. Every rejection was small, soft, dismissed with a sigh. Not tonight. Can you not? I'm tired. 30 times in 1 month. And it wasn't just physical. It was the way she scrolled through her phone while I spoke. The way her eyes glazed over mid-sentence. The way she laughed at videos but barely smiled at me. We didn't fight. That would have meant engagement. We just drifted. And the scariest part? Everyone thought I was overreacting. She's tired. You're being sensitive. Marriage isn't a honeymoon forever. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was needy. Maybe wanting your wife to look at you like you matter is childish. So I became patient, calm, understanding. I cooked dinner more often, handled bedtime alone, gave her space. But space turned into distance. Distance turned into coldness. And coldness turned into something I didn't recognize. Contempt at IT was a Tuesday night when I realized something was deeply wrong. The kids were asleep over. The house was quiet. I made rosemary chicken, lia condole, played soft jazz. I didn't say it was romantic. I just said, we finally have the house to ourselves. She sat at the kitchen table, scrolling. I walked over, rested my hand gently on her shoulder. How about we spend some time together tonight? She didn't look up. Not tonight. I'm busy. With what? Laundry hacks? Discount codes? Someone else's life on a screen? I stepped back, swallowed it. Later, she laughed at something on her phone. A real laugh. Full. Bright. I hadn't heard that sound directed at me in months. And that's when the insecurity started whispering. It's not that she doesn't laugh. It's that she doesn't laugh with you. Then came the barbecue. Kevin and Laura's place. String lights. Cold drinks. That casual suburban warmth. I thought maybe outside the house she'd soften. Maybe she'd slip her hand into mine like she used to. Instead, I heard it. Clear as glass breaking. He acts like I'm supposed to jump into his arms every time he snaps his fingers. It's pathetic. Laughter followed. Not cruel, but enough. I stood there, mid-conversation, pretending not to hear. Kevin looked away. Laura adjusted her drink. And something inside me didn't crack. It froze. On the drive home, she talked about overpriced dip, about dog hair on the couch, about everything except the fact that she'd humiliated me. When we got home, she said, "Don't wake me up like last night, like I was an inconvenience, a buzzing alarm." That night, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I opened my phone, and I created a folder. I wrote the date. Rejected. Again. Then I scrolled back and counted. 30 that I didn't plan to leave her. Not then. I just needed proof. Proof that I wasn't crazy. Proof that this wasn't a phase. Proof that I wasn't imagining the pattern. Because self-doubt is louder than rejection. Maybe I am dramatic. Maybe I expect too much. Maybe I'm not attractive anymore. Maybe she's bored. Maybe she regrets marrying me. The thoughts stacked. But so did the entries. 31, 32. And then something shifted. The rejections stopped hurting. They started clarifying. There's a difference between wanting someone and begging them. And I realized I'd crossed that line. I wasn't reaching for connection. I was asking for permission to feel loved. And she kept denying the request. The breaking point wasn't dramatic. It happened in the living room. Laundry on the couch. Daylight through the blinds. I took the basket from her hands. Opened my phone. Turned the screen toward her. 31 entries. Dates. Times. Notes. She stared. Then scoffed. That's creepy, Mark. Creepy. Not hurt. Not apologetic. Creepy. It's not about keeping score, I said calmly. It's about noticing a pattern. You're obsessed with sex. No, Europea. I'm tired of being invisible. That's when I saw it. Not guilt. Not sadness. Contempt. Maybe if you weren't so needy. That word. Needy. As if wanting affection from your spouse is a character flaw. Something in me went quiet. Not angry. Not loud. Just done. I'm done feeling unwanted in my own home, I said. She blinked. What does that mean? It meant I stopped chasing. It meant I stopped asking. It meant I stopped hoping she'd suddenly decide I was worth touching. And that scared her, because power shifts are silent. The next night, she wore a dress I bought her 2 anniversaries ago. Candles. Wine. My favorite meal. She stood in the doorway like she was auditioning for forgiveness. Dinner's ready. I looked at the table, at the effort, at the performance, and I felt nothing. This is nice, I said, but it doesn't fix what's been happening. I'm trying, she whispered. You're trying because you're scared, I replied. Not because you care. Her smile collapsed. You think I don't want our marriage? I think you want the comfort of it, not the work. Silence. Heavy. Real. For the first time in months, she didn't roll her eyes. Didn't sigh. Didn't deflect. She cried. But they weren't tears for me. They were tears for the control she was losing. I didn't think you'd ever stop wanting me, she admitted quietly. That sentence hurt more than the barbecue, more than the laughter, because she was right. She assumed I'd always stay, always chase, always bend. But desire dies when dignity is denied. And I had finally chosen dignity that I didn't slam doors. I didn't pack bags dramatically. I simply withdrew the energy I'd been pouring into a one-sided marriage. No more initiating. No more chasing. No more pleading conversations about us. She started watching me differently. Started touching my arm casually. Started asking about my day. But it felt like someone watering a plant after letting it die. Too late. The 31st rejection wasn't physical. It was emotional. She reached for me one night, and I stepped back, not to punish her, not to hurt her, but because something in me had closed. Respect. That's what I wanted. Not obligation. Not panic. Respect. And when she realized I no longer feared losing her, she panicked. But love shouldn't require fear to function. Marriage doesn't collapse in one explosion. It erodes. Quietly. Through eye rolls. Through dismissive sighs. Through jokes at your partner's expense. Through assuming they'll always tolerate being second choice. I didn't leave because of sex. I left because of indifference. Because intimacy isn't just physical. It's eye contact. It's warmth. It's not treating your spouse like background noise. The loudest moment in our marriage wasn't a fight. It was the day I stopped asking to be wanted. And sometimes, that silence is the real goodbye. If this story resonated with you, hit like. Share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done? And subscribe for more powerful husband, wife story transformations that remind us all. Love isn't about begging to be chosen. It's about being valued without asking.